Bonjour, madame et monsieur. Comment ça va aujourd'hui? Bien. 你好，早上好。我的名字是 Zuriel Oduwole， 我15岁。我不喜欢看儿子不去学校，我想喜欢看儿子去学校，学校很好。Okay, so I'm not really sure where the best place to start is because there's just so many different things going on in the world today. But one thing that I have learned is that youth, and those under the age of 25 as well, have a major role to play in these developments. Now, these are also very, very exciting times for youth. I can give you a couple of examples as to why. In April, so earlier on this year, I was invited to speak at an event in Paris with Bill Gates and his wife Melinda Gates about the power of youth. Now, the first day of that event, more than 500,000 people showed up at the Champs-Élysées, and that's a lot of youth, right? Now, this is the best part. Only 10 days later, because of the power and voice of youth, France elected its youngest president since the Republic was founded over 200 years ago. Now, this is exciting because it shows the power of youth, including young women. Now, I can quickly give you another example. So when all this started for me, when I was 9 years old, I made my first short film, and it was on the Ghana Revolution. So I went to Ghana to meet President Jerry Rawlings and also President John Cooper for that project. Now, a year later, so I was 10 years old this time, I made my second film, and I made it on the formation of the 1963 OAU, the Organization of African Unity. So for that, I met the president of Malawi, it was President Joyce Banda, and I also met President Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania, and President Rukesa Priya of Mauritius for that project. So fast forward quickly to the age of 12, there's a company called Procter & Gamble, or P&G. I'm sure you all have heard of it, right? It's a multi-billion-dollar global company. So basically what happened was they had launched a campaign, and it was called Like a Girl. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to change the perception of the phrase like a girl from a negative thing to a positive thing. And so they created a follow-on campaign, and it was called Unstoppable Like a Girl. So for that project, they thought that they should get a girl to produce it to make it more authentic, because the whole point was to inspire and empower girls. So to my surprise, they hired me when I was 12 years old to produce this project. Now, I only had 2 years of filmmaking experience, and it wasn't even full-time for me, so of course I was nervous. Wouldn't you all be? But by the grace of the Lord, I was able to do it successfully. And the English version of that short project has now been seen over 250,000 times on YouTube, and there's now a Spanish version for Latin America, and also a new French version. Now, I shared these examples with you all to show you that the power of youth, but especially the voice of young women, is real. So let me quickly talk about Africa's future with her youth. Now, Africa's population is made up of about a quarter youth. So that means that the power and the future of Africa is in its youth, right? The youth can really turn the continent around. Now, one thing that makes Africa, Europe, Asia, and Latin America all equal is the power of the internet, but especially social media. Events that happen in the United States are now seen in those continents, Africa, Europe, and Asia, at the exact same time. So it's a level playing field at last. But then also events that happen here on the African continent are seen in Europe and Asia at the exact same time other African countries get to see it. Now, we youth are heavily involved in social media and also online activities. So I believe that Africa's social media, and the internet to change Africa, but to also change Africa's story. And speaking of youth, young women actually make up at least half of Africa's youth population. And they too are also heavily involved in social media. They talk about topics like entrepreneurship, they talk about life, and they also talk about supporting each other. So here's my role as a filmmaker. As a filmmaker, I believe in always telling a positive story. And I also believe that by telling a positive African story, I'm also telling a positive women's story because I'm a young woman, and I really believe this. So because I believe in the power of storytelling, in February last year, when I was 13, I launched a filmmaking class in Namibia so I could teach other young women and youth how to tell their own stories. So I'm proud to say that a young woman who attended that event made her first documentary only 9 months later, and she's now shopping it around in Southern Africa, which I think is really cool. What do you guys think? So, quickly in closing, I believe that the power of telling a positive African story and also a positive women's story is really incredible. And I also believe that telling a positive story can be inspiring. So young women should continue to tell more positive and also more inspiring stories. Now, as you all can see, Africa, African women, and also young women are rising. So please, rise with us. Thank you all very, very much.
Je rappelle que le film Zuriel Oduwole est visible et que vous pouvez le voir en amphi pendant toute la journée, je crois.